So some exciting news to start our video today. This is our last unit of the school year. It'll last a couple weeks, but still, it's the last unit. And then hopefully you'll become 7th graders is the plan. But this is our statistics unit. So statistics are all about, collecting data, asking questions to get that data, whole bunch of numbers. So we're going to be doing some graphs, charts, those types of things. So this is kind of a fun unit in my opinion. Some of it will be a review. Hopefully what we do today you will have heard of a little bit. But we are starting with mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, like I said, hopefully that might be familiar to some of you. If it's brand new, don't worry, we're going to start from the basics anyway. So these are a lot of notes. So I've already rewritten them or written them out already. So if you, like I've told you before many times, if you need to pause me, write it down, and then let me play after that, that's fine. Whatever works best for you. So mean is finding the average of a set of data. So for example, set of data just means a list of numbers. So a list of numbers has been put together and you need to find the average of them. Finding the average means that you find the number that kind of best sums them up. So for example, if I'm in the gym and I just start asking kids what's their age, I'm probably going to get things from like 11 to 14 being at a middle school. So then the average age would be about 12 and a half, okay, because that's about right in the middle, all right? So average is one that sums up kind of all the numbers together, all right? And the way that you do that, the way that you find the average is first of all, you add up all the numbers. So like if I had all those ages of those kids, I'd add them up all together, okay? Even if it's a huge number, even if you get like a number like 354, okay? Add all the numbers up. Even if some numbers repeat, you still add them up. And then you divide that number by how many numbers you added. So like if I add them all up and I get 354, and then I divide it by how many numbers I had. So let's say I had 18 numbers. So I do 354 divided by 18, and that would be what gives me my mean. Okay? So mean is a two-step thing. You have to add up your numbers first, and then you're going to divide by however many numbers you have. So let's look at a couple examples. All right, so we've got these numbers right here, and this will be calculator active, so you can certainly use your calculator for these problems. So like I said, our first step is to add them all up. So 3 plus 8 plus 5 plus 13 plus 6, and I get 35. So I'm going to put over here 35 so I don't forget it. And then second step says divide the sum by how many numbers you added. Well, how many numbers did I add? I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to divide by 5, and we know that that's going to equal 7. Okay, so the average number for this list of numbers is 7, okay, which makes sense. You've got numbers from 13 to 3, so kind of right in the middle of all that would be 7. All right, let's do it again for the second example. 19 plus 26 plus 15 plus 34 plus 21 plus 28 equals 143. So then how many numbers did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we divide by 6. And we get 23.83 is what we'll put. Okay? So that's all you're doing for mean. Another word for mean is the word average. So those two words are kind of used the same. All right? Let's go to the next word. The next word is median, okay? The median is the middle number in a given set of data, okay? So literally, whatever number falls in the middle, that's your median, okay? 2 steps for this. First, you got to list the numbers from least to greatest. That's the thing that kids hate doing the most, but you list them from least to greatest, and then you find the number that's in the middle. So you literally start crossing numbers off from both sides until you get to that number in the middle. So let's look at an example. All right, so we've got these numbers right here. The first thing I need to do is list them in order from least to greatest. So 12, and I like to cross them off so I know I don't forget any. 17, 19, 20, and 26. Okay, so I didn't leave any off, I got them all. So that's step one. Step two says find the number in the middle. So you start on the left, gone. Then you go to the right, gone. Go back to the left, gone. Right, gone. And then this number in the middle would be considered your median. All right, so my median is 19. All right, you should want to double check. I got 2 crossed off on this side, 2 crossed off on this side, so I'm good. If you had like 3 on this side and 2 on that side, that would be uneven, and you would know you've done something wrong. It has to be the same number on both sides. All right, let's try another example. First thing we got to do is put them in order. So I got a 1, got another 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so I put them in order. Now I need to find the number in the middle. So you start left, right, left, right, left, right. So now normally I'd come back over here and cross this off, but if I cross this one off, then I'd had 4 crossed off on this side, but only 3 on this side, so it's not even. All right, so you got to make sure it's even. So now we've got 2 left in the middle. All right, you can't have 2 medians. So what you do is, here are my 2 numbers. I'm going to circle them so that I can clearly see them. All right, when you have 2 left in the middle, what you do is you find the mean of just those 2 numbers. So we're going to add these 2 numbers together. So we're going to do 3 plus 5, which gives you 8. And then how many numbers did you just add? Well, I only added 2 numbers. So you always divide by 2, and you get 4. So my median for this one is 4, which makes sense because think about it. If you have 3 and 5, well, what's in the middle of 3 and 5? Obviously, that's 4. So anytime you have an even list of numbers, so like I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 8 numbers. That's an even number. When you have an even amount of numbers, you're always going to end up with 2 in the middle. So you're always going to have to do this step, okay? You're always going to, whatever 2 numbers you get in the middle, you add them together, and then you divide them by 2. You're always going to divide them by 2 because there's always going to be 2 numbers that are left, okay? If you have an odd list of numbers, so like up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be nice, and it's just going to leave you with 1 number in the middle. So those are pretty simple. But anytime you have an even amount of numbers, you're always going to end up with these 2 numbers in the middle that you have to add together and then divide by 2. Okay? All right, the next word is the word mode. Okay? Mode is the number that occurs the most. Okay? I like to tell my kids, you know, mode, most, they kind of look the same. They got the first 2 letters that are the same. So mode occurs the most. So when you have your list of numbers, you're looking for the one that repeats. Okay? Well, sometimes more than 1 number repeats. All right, so you can have more than 1 mode. All right, if multiple numbers repeat, then you're going to have more than 1 mode. Or you might have no numbers that repeat and you can have no mode. Okay? So you can have more than 1 mode, you can have 1 mode, or you can have no mode. All right, so let's look at some examples. All right, we don't have to worry about putting anything from least to greatest. You just look at the list of numbers. So does anything repeat? I see I got a 1. Another 1. All right, so nothing else repeats. So my mode here is 1. All right, let's look at this list. See, I got a 5 and a 5. Oh, I got a 9 and a 9. Nothing else repeats. So for this one, my mode is 5 and 9. Now, if there had been 1 more 9, then you would have had 3 9s and 2 5s. Remember, the definition says the one that occurs the most, okay? So you would have just put 9 because, yes, 5 repeats, but doesn't repeat the most, all right? You're looking for the one that repeats the most. And like I said, if we'd had 1 more 9, then 9 would have been the one that repeated the most, so it would have been the answer. All right, let's look down here. All right, well, nothing's repeating down here. All right, don't put 0. Don't put that your mode is 0, because then I'm going to think, oh, 0 is the one that keeps repeating. If there's no mode, then you just put none. All right, you would just write out the word none, because there's no mode. Nothing's repeating over and over. Okay? All right, and then the last thing, last definition, the R, stands for range. All right, range is the difference between the highest number and the lowest number. Hopefully you're picking up on the word difference, because difference means subtract. So all you're literally doing is you're finding the biggest number in the list of numbers, and you're finding the smallest number in the list of numbers, and you're going to subtract them. Okay? So subtract the smallest number from the biggest number. All right? So looking at these examples, let's see. This one right here, 12 is my smallest. It looks like 42 is my biggest. So then I'm going to subtract these. So I'd have 42 minus 12, which equals 30. So my range is 30. All right, looking at this one, is there anything smaller than 8? Yep, I got a 6. And then my biggest is looking like it's 23. So for this one, all I need to do is do 23 minus 6, and that gives me 17. All right? None of these things are difficult. They're all very simple and pretty straightforward. The hardest part is for kids remembering what each one of them means. All right, so just to review real quick, remember, mean, you're adding them all up and then dividing by however many you had. Median, you are finding the number in the middle. So the most important thing that people always forget to do is you have to put them in order from least to greatest, okay? So this median is definitely the one that kids dislike the most, and mainly because it kind of takes the most time. You have to put it in order from least to greatest, and then you have to start crossing off your numbers till you get to that number in the middle. Remember, if it's an even amount of numbers, you're going to end up with 2 numbers in the middle that you have to add together and then divide by 2. All right? Sometimes it might come out to be a decimal, and that's totally okay. Mode is the number that occurs the most, so the one that repeats the most. You can have no mode, you can have more than one mode, you can have one mode, but you're looking for the one that occurs the most. All right? And then lastly, we had range. Range is always going to be subtraction. And it's always going to be subtracting the biggest number minus the smallest number. Okay? So we're going to study these for the next couple of days. Hopefully you'll get the hang of it. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward as long as you remember what each word means. So go ahead and start practicing so that you know what they mean.